Hi, I'm Amy Barrickman. This is Your Friend, the Designer with Amy Barrickman. I am here to continue talking about our living room series. In the last video, I talked about setting the stage for your design. And look, we're talking about furniture, right? So why so serious? The reason is when we set a stage for our design, we create a good outcome. It doesn't have to be involved. It's simple, but we want to kind of set ourselves up for success. That's why I focus on one room at a time, and I want you to focus on one room at a time. By choosing just one room, you're really going to give yourself a lot of confidence. And this is going to go into my next topic. So, we already talked about other people's opinions and how they can really derail a design. They can really sway us, not necessarily in the way that we want. I talked about it, but then I just appeared on a podcast, which was awesome. And I loved an awesome organizer, loved chatting with her. And she was sharing with me some challenges from her design. And she said, working with her spouse, just making sure they're on the same page of everything. And this is what I want to clarify for you guys. And this is what I told her. The person who's doing the work for the design is the chief of the clan, the captain of the ship, whatever. That person's in charge. If you're the one, and I'm assuming if you're watching this video that you're probably the one in charge, but feel free to show it to your spouse or significant other or whoever you live with. The person doing the work to put together the design is the one in charge. This is not to say that we don't listen to other people's opinions. Of course, their feedback is important, but we, the person in charge, the person doing all the work, at the end of the day, it's our design. That other person who lives with you, they could probably design a great room, but they didn't, right? They didn't. They aren't doing the work. And I'm not trying to come down. It sounds meaner. It sounds more mean than I mean it to. My point is, someone has to be in charge. If you and a spouse, or you and a roommate, or you and a child who lives with you, whatever, if you're all in charge, no one's in charge. If you're all working on this, it's going to be really hard to get it done. Someone has to be in charge. Someone has to take the lead. And that person also gets the privilege of choosing things. So, along those lines, I lay out in my book, The Living Room Design Formula, I lay out a formula, a path of how to get there. And there are a lot of points during that journey that you might invite a person that you live with to ask their opinion on your selections. And that is welcome. But there is something I caution you against. This is very important. Very important. Every room has a star. Every room needs a star. There's that one element that makes you really happy. It could be a light fixture. It could be a certain piece of furniture. It could be wallpaper. It doesn't matter what it is. There's one thing that we are going to name as the star. That star is important, and I want you to be extra protective of that star. Do not ever ask your spouse, your mother, your friend, your child, your dog. Don't ask any of them what they think of your star. You love it enough to choose it as your star. That matters. That really, really matters. So, when it comes to picking a sofa, assuming the sofa is not your star, you may want to ask your spouse or whoever it is, your roommate, what they like in a sofa. But you're in charge. So instead of asking them, what do you think of these sofa choices? No. We're not asking them that way. We're going to say, okay, here are some sofas that I've selected. I have 3 choices. This one has a really deep seat. So this one is going to be back. You're going to be able to lean back and be super comfortable. Now this one has a tight back. That means that the cushions are tight and it's not ever going to break down and look sloppy. And this one has, let's call it a bench cushion. So instead of having separate cushions for each seat on the sofa, it has one cushion straight across. And that's great because it is more comfortable to lay on. The disadvantage is you can't flip it as easily. So spouse slash roommate slash mother slash dog slash whoever you're asking, what do you like about these? Which element do you like? Note how I'm not leaving an open door. When you leave an open door, you're going to get feedback that A, you don't want, but B, is probably not helpful. And believe me, I learned this the hard way. I learned it the hard way with my wonderful husband, but also with clients. If I offer a blank slate, they'll give me feedback. And most of the time, 99% of the time, I've already thought through a lot of these options. So then it gets frustrating. And you, as the designer, as the captain of your ship, as the person who has taken control of this and is doing all the work, you have already been down the road. You've already looked at lots of things online. You've already analyzed the measurements of how wide the cushions are. You've already done the work. So if you leave it as an open door when you get feedback, what you're doing is you're giving that other person the opportunity to poke holes in your design, and that's okay if you want them to poke holes. Sometimes you will. Sometimes you aren't sure whether you want the bench cushion or the tight back or the extra deep seat. Then get their feedback. But if you show them a sofa that you really love and you just have one question about whether you should get nail heads or not, but they start poking holes in the whole thing, that's really frustrating. And it's not just frustrating to the point where it causes tension in your relationship, but it will cause analysis paralysis. It will cause you to have second thoughts about your choices. And it's just going to slow down your whole design process. That is not what we want. And honestly, not even what your partner or spouse or whoever it is, not what they want either. They want the room done too. If they don't, okay, that's a different discussion. But let's assume that everyone on board wants to design your room. So, number one, you are captain of your own ship. You are welcoming other opinions, but only for specific items. If you want to show them 2 fabrics and you like both of them, great. Do not give them an open door. And please protect your star. That star of your room, make sure it's safe and sound. Don't let the electrician. Ooh, electricians, I love you, I love what you do, but sometimes you come in and you say things about my lights. I've thought about it. I want your expertise, but I've thought about it. Don't let your electrician, don't let your grandmother, don't let someone come in and tell you that you shouldn't use something you love, okay? And maybe it means you divide your choices. Some spouses or partners, sometimes they're more active than others, okay? And they really want to feel involved. Fine, great. You're going to protect the star. You're going to protect the things that you like most in the room, but you're going to absolutely give them choices within parameters. Here's a perfect example, coffee table. There is a whole chapter in the book, The Living Room Design Formula, in my book, that tells you how to pick the right size coffee table. It talks about picking all the right size furniture. And we talk about the guidelines of how many inches are ideal to be away from your sofa, blah, blah, blah. So you will have already done a lot of work. You've already gone through this. You've drawn your room. You know about the correct size for your coffee table, okay? You have an idea. Maybe it's within a few inches, but you have an idea. Now, if you show a coffee table to your partner and they look at it and go, that's too big. It's too big. Nope, that's not what you're asking, right? You've already done the work. You know, and you can be confident about it. You can say, thank you. Actually, I've been going through this book. I've followed all the guidelines, and I know the best size coffee table for this space. So what I'm asking you is, which style do you like better? Or whatever it may be. So, number 1, you're the captain of the ship. Number 2, protect your star. Number 3, when allowing feedback, ask for very specific things. Nailhead or no nailhead? Pillows or, 2 pillows or 4 pillows? Ask for very specific things. This is going to keep you on track. I really love talking about this stuff, and I ask you, well, first, please, I'm supposed to ask, I always forget, please hit the like button, please subscribe. This series is going to continue, and I would love to hear in the comments if there are particular pain points that you struggle with when it comes to designing, specifically when it comes to working with someone else who lives in the space. Perhaps you have totally different design sensibilities. I want to hear what they are because it helps me make sure that the content that I'm creating is actually helpful for you. Also, please check out lrdesignformula.com. That's LR for living room, designformula.com. On that website, you'll get hooked up to info about the book. It will show you where you can buy it. It's coming out next week. It's coming out on Amazon. So that will all be there very soon. In the meantime, there are some fun free things you can download. And I really appreciate you coming along on this journey for me. This is really fun, and I'm excited to continue talking about all things design. Thank you. Talk to you later. Bye.